Hey, good morning, everyone. Okay, so let me tell you about one simple disadvantage that we do have. So inside this application, if you just see this payment service broker, here we are actually using the service name that is fine instead of localhost because since booking service is running inside a Docker container and payment service is also running inside another Docker container. But still we have used the Docker Compose so that this booking service and the payment service can talk to each other directly by using the service name. So that's the over reason. That's the reason that we have used payment service instead of localhost directly. But here you see a disadvantage that here I have actually specified a port called 9091. Okay, but before that, let me change some port numbers over here, first of all. So for booking service, I just wanted to use 8080, 8080. And for the payment service, I just wanted to use 9090 because 90 series for payment service and 80 series for the booking service. And now let me tell you the basic disadvantage, right? So if you just go to this booking service, the payment service broker. So here, let's say booking service is actually calling the payment service, right? So let's say if we are going to get 10 requests at the same time. So payment service broker, if it is actually one, right? So if I'm talking about the instances, okay? So right now there is only one application which is running on 9091 of the payment service. So here I just wanted to change that to 9090 to just make some understanding over here clearly. So now let's say there is something called Eureka server. So we need to register booking service as well as the payment service with the Eureka server. And now you don't have to mention the port name over here. You can just define the complete, you can just remove the complete URL from this. Okay. So this actually looks cleaner because basically we need to contact the service. We don't have to specify the port numbers. So when we are actually using the Eureka server, right? So let me add the Eureka server dependency. If I just go back to this. Yeah. So let me go and go to the start.spring.io. So here I just wanted to select Maven and add the dependency of the Eureka server. So here there is something called Eureka server and there is something called Eureka discovery client. So I just wanted to use Eureka server over here. And then here I just wanted to, you know, make this as com.modi.ticket.booking.system. And here I just wanted to define this as a movie services registry. Okay, and now generate this. So here, once we have this movie services registry, I can just simply copy this and paste it um, over here. And let me extract this zip and let me remove this. So this is not at all required now. Okay. So now if I just go to this one, I have this movie services registry. So here what I can simply do, I can simply add this as a Marvin project. And now this will be getting recognized. And here I will just go and simply delete this Java version. And I just wanted to use the same plugin, which I have used inside the booking service. Refresh this. Okay. And now I just wanted to define some couple of properties over here. So source, main, resources, and just go to this application properties. So I just wanted to remove this and add application.yaml file instead of application.properties. And server port. And here by default, Eureka server has a specific port which is related to 8761. So this is a Eureka server default port. Okay, we can use the same port. So Spring application name, and the name I can just give it to this movie services registry. And here I just wanted to use some other couple of properties. Eureka client register with Eureka as false. By default, these properties will be true. I just wanted to make them as false. Okay. So what is this register with Eureka and fetch registry? Let me run this application and tell you what happens behind the scenes. Okay. So let me start this application. And before starting the application, since we have added the Eureka server as a dependency inside for the movie services registry, I just have to enable the Eureka server because this is a server for all the microservices. Okay. So booking service and payment service has to register themselves with the Eureka server. So let me go ahead and run this application as a Java application and let's see what happens over here. So let me run this application and enable that annotation processing whenever you get it. Hmm. The Eureka server has been started and now I can just go to this and I can just enter localhost 8761. Now let's enter this. So we do have something called Spring Eureka, right? So this Eureka has, the instances currently registered with Eureka is 0. There are no instances available. So first of all, what do you mean by instance? Okay, so let me explain you with a sample example. So then let's say there are 10 requests coming in to the booking service at same time. So what will happen here? So 10 requests has to be served by the Eureka. That means the booking service directly, right? So here, let me ask you a simple question. So let's say how many requests? Yeah. So how many requests I can actually send to the booking service? Any idea? Anyone? How many requests at a time I can send it to the booking service or the payment service? Hmm? Any idea on this? Guys, no. See, I'm expecting a lot from everyone, but no idea, no guesses or no ideas. See, at a time to Spring Boot application, which is running on Tomcat server, we can send 200 requests at a time. Yes. Okay. So why 200 requests? Okay. Since Tomcat server has a pool size of 200. So this is the thread pool size. Okay. So anyone knows about thread? Thread is a lightweight program. Everyone knows about it. So let me explain you what happens behind the scenes. Let's say if you take our operating system, how many applications are running, right? So right now Notepad is running. I'm using Zoom software. I'm using IntelliJ IDE, and I'm using a browser, right? So here each and every software is a separate process. Okay, but let's come to this particular scenario where thread comes into the play. Okay, so here when I'm actually running my Java application, is it running as a process or it is going to run as a thread? Anyone knows about it? Okay, so let me tell you. So when we want to run our application or a Java application or a Java class in terms of threads, let's say there is a Java class and there are two different methods inside that and one main method. So totally three methods. So if I just wanted to run method one separately and method two separately, we need to execute parallel programming. So this is where threads come into the play. So thread is basically going to, we can create as many number of threads according to our application scenario. So let's say if I have a Java application where I need to run the application as a thread-based application, multi-threaded based application. So right now, if I just have a class test and inside the test, I have a main method, I do have a method one and method two. Now I can just run method one, method two parallelly on separate threads, two separate threads and main method as a separate thread. So there are three threads parallelly. So when we are going to execute these methods parallelly, the execution time will be very much faster. Okay. So we'll just come to that scenario later on. But right now, I just wanted to say that Tomcat server internally has a pool size of 200. So it can take only 200 requests at a time. But once these requests are getting served, another request will be in the waiting stage, right? So that is how we are actually calling the Tomcat server as a blocking server. Okay, so this is not a non-blocking server. It actually blocks the request if the requests are more than 200. So let's say if there are 200 requests coming in, 205, that means 205 requests are coming in. 200 requests will be, taken, getting served by the Tomcat server. And let's say if it is going to contain one, two, three, or four different or five different requests, then only it is going to allow the other requests to come in, take place in the server and execute their parallel tasks. Okay, so this is how what is actually meant for the thread pool size of the Tomcat server. Okay, so how we can actually, so this is how the request will be taken by the Tomcat server, 200 requests at a time. But let's say I do have to send so I do have to send 10 requests at a time. So let's say there is a booking service application running, which is running on the 8080 port right now. I have changed the booking service port. Now, this is the only instance which has to serve 10 requests, right? But if I just wanted to run another booking service on port 8081, that means what happens? Five requests will be served by this, and five requests will be served by this. So this is how the load balancing feature works. So let's say I just wanted to start. So let me go to the start.spring.io and let me go and add the discovery client. So let me add the dependency. Let me go and take this dependency first of all, a discovery client. Let me go and add this inside the booking service. Let me close all the applications and go to the booking service. And here, I just wanted to include, I don't know why this is there over here. So I can just copy paste it over here, the Netflix Eureka client. And then if I just go to the main Java application of this booking service application, I can simply use one annotation called @enable discovery client. Now, once you do this, and once you run this application, okay, so we have started the booking service application on port 8080. Can I run the booking service application on different port? Yes, we can actually run it. So go to the edit configuration, add another application, and select the application as a configuration. And here you can actually select booking service application 2. And here I need to mention the JDK module and the services booking service, and the main class is booking service application. That's it. And now inside this server environment variables, I just have to mention server.port equal to 90, sorry, 8081, because 8080 is the initial port, right? So I just wanted to click on apply, click on OK. I think we can just click on run directly. So this application will run on. So right now this is actually running on 8080 port. But if you see that it has been registered with the Eureka client with the booking service, and the registration status is 204. That means it has successfully registered. See, 200, 201, 202, 203, 204, all these are successful scenarios. Okay, 200 series are successful scenarios. So here, if you just see this booking service application 2, this is also registered with this Eureka server. And let's see what happens inside the Eureka server. So let me go and refresh this Eureka server. There you go. So we do have 8081 as one instance and 8080 as another instance. Okay. So there are two instances of our booking service application running. Now, what happens if I just wanted to give a request from the Postman or from the Angular application or the React application? Basically, let's say there are 10 users hitting the booking service directly at the same time, 10 requests will come. So 8080 will take 3 requests at a time, and 8081 will take another 7 requests at a time. So what I just wanted to say over here, so let's say here right now we do have booking service 1 and booking service 2. Let's say there are 10 requests coming in. So this request will be shared by booking service 1 and booking service 2. Let's say this is not constant. Sometimes it can take 3 requests, and sometimes it can take 7. So totally 10 requests. Sometimes it can take 5, and sometimes it can take 5. Sometimes it can take 4, and sometimes it can say take 6. Sometimes it can take 2, and sometimes it can take 8. So this is how it is actually, load balanced. That means our booking service application will be load balanced to the Eureka server. And here, let me explain you one simple scenario. If I just go to the brokers, there's a payment service broker. So we don't have to use this URL. Can you just use this? Okay, I just wanted to delete this URL. And so let me stop this booking service application and restart it. Restart this and also restart this again. That's it. Okay. So now both these applications are going to run. Let's see if there are any issues after removing the URL from here. Okay. So let's see. but we'll not be getting any issues, but we will be getting an issue if you are going to remove URL if we don't have a dependency of the discovery client. So let me tell you about that. So here it has actually, registered with this one. Okay, so 8081. And so now if you can see that we do have booking service and we do have something called the 8080 and 8081 as two different instances inside the Eureka server. Okay, so now if I just go back to the booking service application and I just wanted to remove I just wanted to comment this out. Okay, and if I just wanted to go to the pom.xml of the booking service and comment this one. Okay, so now if I just go and stop this booking service application and restart this application, let's see, we'll be getting some strange issues because this payment service broker is not using a URL. URL is mandatory when our service application is running separately. Okay, not with Eureka server. Okay, so let me run this application now and let's see what is the issue that you are going to face. Let me start one instance right now and see what is the issue. So right now we don't have Eureka client as a dependency and we have not enabled @enable discovery client. Okay. So now see what happens. Yeah. So see here, it is actually saying no Fane client for load balancing defined. Did you forget to include Spring Cloud starter load balancer? So if we are not going to use the URL inside the payment service broker, we need to define this dependency. Got it? For load balancing feature, but that is not required. Let's say if you do have the booking service over here, let's say I just wanted to, refresh this and I just wanted to start the booking service again. And let's see what happens. I have not enabled this enable your discovery client right now. So I just wanted to start it again. So now let's see what happens. Yeah. So now if you can see that discovery client, and if I just wanted to refresh it, so there is 8080 application, but here Eureka may be incorrectly claiming instances are up when they are not. Renewals are less than threshold and all this kind of things. So it's always a better practice to use @enable Eureka, that means enable discovery client, and just disable this one, and you can just start this application. So even if the payment service broker is not using the URL, it doesn't matter because Eureka server has a complete overview of the booking service and it knows what is the status of the booking service and what are the port numbers and what are the configuration properties. Everything booking service is, Eureka server knows those properties. Okay, so now what happens, let's say I just wanted to go inside this one and let me explain you about this your movie services registry, and I just wanted to go to this one, resources, and here inside the application.yaml. So can you see this? There are two different properties, register with Eureka and fetch registry. So what is this registry with Eureka and fetch registry? Okay, so this is actually I have defined these properties inside the movie services registry, which is the Eureka server. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay. So now, let me tell you about this. So what is register with Eureka? See, since Eureka server has been added inside this pom.xml, correct? So if you see the pom.xml, So here we have actually used the dependency of the Eureka server, Netflix Eureka server. That means this is the server. And why we need to do a registration with the server itself? Since it is a server, so registered with Eureka has to be false. Okay. If it is true, what happens? Eureka service will also come over here, because since Eureka server is having a dashboard and this is the server itself, why we need to use register with Eureka as true? This is a false. By default, it will be true. We need to make it as false for server. And what is this fetch registry, right? So fetch registry is something like the port configurations, the status related, and all these kind of things are fetch registry. So right now, if you see that for the booking service, right, I have not used registered with Eureka and the fetch registry as true and true inside the booking service. But by default, register with Eureka and fetch registry is true for the booking service, because the default values for these two properties are true. Okay, so for server, we need to make them as false, because since booking service is a separate microservice, and here we are actually saying that, inside the booking service, we don't have to, let me copy these properties and let me go to the booking service and let me paste the properties over here like this. Okay, so here I need to make them as true, but this is not required because these values are by default, they are true. So we don't have to define this property. Got it? So if I just delete this, by default, they will be true. And if you don't define this over here, by default, they will be there over here. Okay, but we don't have to define that. So now what happens is, since we have defined the register with Eureka as true, this booking service will register with Eureka server as a client, and fetch registry is also true. That means it is going to give the complete information of this application.properties to the Eureka server. So that's the reason we are actually getting the complete. See here, the booking service and the status is up and the number of instances that we are going to run for the booking service application. So now what happens, since Eureka server knows how many instances are getting run, what is the status of the application of the booking service, what is the port configuration, everything it knows. That's the reason if you just go to inside the payment service broker, it doesn't need a URL and the port number we have defined previously, right? This will not work in real-time cases, because let's say there can be n number of instances of the booking service. Let's say there are 1 million requests incoming, 1 million requests coming for the payment service. Let's say if I just have to maintain 15 different instances, then I need to define 9091, 9092, 9093, like that 15 instances I need to define it over here as hard-coded values. I don't want to do that. I just wanted to give everything to the Eureka server, and whatever the number of applications that we are going to run, it is going to make a track of those. Okay, so that's the specific purpose. Now, if I just go back to the booking service application too, I just wanted to run this application as well. So when I run this application is also getting registered with Eureka. So let's see that in action. Okay, so now if I just refresh this, so now we do have two instances running. So whenever a request made to the booking service endpoints, let's say there are 10 requests coming in. So one request will be handled by the booking service 1 instance, and another instance will be handled by the booking service 2 instance. Okay, so since they are running on different ports. Now what happens, let's see, let's say I just wanted to go to the payment service. I just wanted to add the same kind of things. So if I just go to this payment service, so let me resolve this, because these are basically I cannot run, I cannot run the payment service application in local. So we do have to do the same changes how we have done for the booking service. If I just go to the booking service, I just wanted to copy this environment variables and paste it the same over here for the payment service also. And here I just wanted to define it as payments DB and payments. Okay, and I can just go and use this one That means if I just go to the application.yaml of the payment service, here I can just use a dollar, and here I can just use a local host, because while running in local, so here I can just define this property MySQL host, and here I can just copy paste that. And here by default, every username of the MySQL is root, so I don't have to use this root. I don't have to use a dollar value, but sometimes we need to use, because sometimes we can actually create a number of users, right? So here I can just use this one, and I'll just go to the Docker Compose db_name. If we are running using Docker Compose up, then db_name will be taken from this Docker Compose YAML file with this value. And if we are running it in local, then probably it will take my local database password, which is running on my local machine. Okay, so that's the total idea. And if I just go back to the pom.xml, I have to define the same kind of dependency which I have added for the booking service as well. I will just go to the pom.xml and I will just copy paste the same dependency over here in the payment service application inside the dependencies. And now even if I define this, I need to add the dependency management, because that will actually fail. Okay, so here I need to go to the booking service payment.xml, and I have to copy this dependency management. That's it. And I just wanted to go inside the payment service pom.xml. If I just add that plugin, that means the dependency management, so the issue will be resolved. So I have to copy the properties also, where it has the specific version. And go to the pom.xml of the payment service, and here you can actually define the properties over here after this. That's it. The job is done. And now you can refresh it. It will be in sync correctly. So now what I can just do, I can just go to edit configurations, and I can just, okay, let me start this. Go to the payment service application and annotate this one with @enable discovery client. And now what we can simply do, we can just go and start this application in the actual mode, the plain mode, running mode. And now if I just close all these applications, and I just wanted to create another instance of the payment service application. And if I select over here, you can just click a plus button, and you can just select application over here. And now you can just call it as payment service application 2. And now you can define the JDK version, and you can define the module, that means the payment service. And here you can just select the booking service, the payment service application. And here you can just define the server.port. Since these are actually the port of the payment service, we need to give a different port, because 9090 is already taken by payment service application 1 instance. I just wanted to apply, and I just wanted to click on run. That's it. Now it is just going to run. See here, if you just see here, we have the booking service application 1, we have the payment service application 1, and we do have the payment service application 2. So that's the total idea. And then now if I just go and refresh this, I just have the payment service 9090. Let it wait for some time. It is just going to register this one as well. And if I just go back to the service, Eureka server, and here you can see that I do have booking service, 2 instances are running, and I do have payment service, 2 instances are running. So right now, if I get just hit the booking service with 10 different requests, 2 different requests will be taken care by 1 instance. So here I just wanted to explain you the flow. So here we do have payment service also, and we do have payment service too, right? So here what happens is, so this is running on 9090 port, and this is running on 9091, right? So here, so the booking service will call the payment service with, it can call any of the instances, let's say 3 different instances, 3 requests. So it is random, it is not constant. So, and send 7 requests parallelly, since we are sending, right? So here, this is how the load balancing feature works in terms of the Eureka server and the Eureka server clients. So if you just see over here, the booking service information is actually getting retrieved by the Eureka server, and also the payment service information is also being retrieved by the Eureka server inside the Eureka server dashboard, right? So what is this fetch registry? So now if I just go and see the Eureka movie services registry, I'll just go to the resources application.yaml. So here register with Eureka and fetch registry. So let me explain you what is this register with Eureka. So register with Eureka will be true by default. So since this is a server, I don't have to register the server with server again. It is not at all required. And what is this fetch registry? So let me tell you one simple thing. Now let's say booking service has to call the payment service directly with the service name, not on the port. Now booking service is calling the payment service. How the booking service is calling the payment service? Directly with the service name. But who makes sure that we can actually call this payment service directly with the service name? That means if you just go to the booking service, we can call the payment service directly with the service name. Port information is not at all required for the booking service. So everything will be managed by the Eureka server. So when booking service is calling a payment service, since the payment service information is completely there inside the Eureka, it will just give that information to the booking service, how many instances are up for the payment service to the booking service. So here, that's the reason we have actually deleted all these configurations related to the payment service broker. Over here, we have actually deleted the URL and we have just made a call to the payment service directly with the payment service as a name. And if you can see here, this name has and this name has to be the same. Make sure that you always define the same name. So if you just see this Spring application dot name for the booking service, if I just go to this one, there's a booking service, right? Yeah. And if I just go to the payment service application.yaml, so I have to give the service name as, so it's a better name. So wait a second, this is not a payment service. Yeah, this is a payment service, right? So if you see, the Spring application.name is the payment-service. So always make sure that you are using the same names for the services, even in the Docker and even in the Eureka. So, but since booking service, payment service are running inside the Docker container, they can actually communicate with each other using the service name. That is possible. But when booking service is calling the payment service, inside the Feign client, we have actually defined the URL, but that is not required when we are actually using the Eureka server, because Eureka server knows the complete details of the payment service directly inside the booking service. Since booking service and payment service are a part of Eureka server, when booking service has to call a payment service, it can URL is not mandatory if payment service is also registered with Eureka, because when booking service is calling a payment service directly with the service name, Eureka server will take care of how many instances are running for the payment service and which instance it has to call. Every decision will be taken care by the Eureka server, and how to do the load balancing also. Okay, so that's the total idea. Okay. Since we are not providing the method path, so we need to take the method name is also same. Akash, what are you saying?
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Tell me.
Yeah. Sir, we are not using method path. Means payment service method we are calling from by using Fin client.
Hmm.
So we need to take that method name also same while calling
That is
that
not
method from
mandatory.
booking service.
See, only the URL matters, the request mapping URL. Okay. So
But
here, since we have wait a second.
yeah, yes. Go ahead.
So here we need to define the root path.
Okay.
That's it. Since we have deleted that URL on the top, so you just have to
Hmm.
provide the URL. That's it.
Okay.
Here you can see, you can keep whatever the method, you can keep it over here, but the URL matters completely, and the
Okay.
request body.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? No questions? Completely understood? I'm always interested to answer candidate questions. Please ask me if you have anything in your mind. Is Suresh is there? Suresh, no issues? You understood or how it is like? Okay, I think the information is clear to everyone. Yeah, thank you, Giridhar. Hmm. And that's what I said, right? So here, booking service one. So right now, a 10 request is fine, but imagine there are 1 million requests to booking service. That means if 1 million requests are coming to booking service, to payment service also, there will be 1 million requests going in from the booking service, right? Can we run 1 million? That means for 1 million requests, 2 instances are enough? No, we need to add more instances. That has to be dynamic, right? So how we can actually scale our application well in terms of scalability as well as load balancing is already taken care by the Eureka server. Okay, I'll tell you about the load balancing feature when we are actually implementing the API gateway. Okay, but right now, this is the only thing. Yes, Suresh, I was waiting for your questions. Tell me. Sorry, can you just unmute from your side again?
Yeah, this one I understood. My question was with respect to multi-threading. You gave an example, right? Like we have, let's say we have a two class, and both class has two methods, method one and method two, and we have another main method, right? So these three methods will go in parallel. How do you achieve that? How do you make them to run?
See, that is what called multi-threading, right? So basically,
So
when we
because
are
this
calling,
decision will be taken by operating system, right? But how do you have control to run them in parallel?
yeah, I have not said you about the multi-threading, how it can be implemented, right? Basically, I'm saying whenever you run a Java class, right? So do you know that there is a main thread?
Yeah.
So when the complete control is being taken care by the main method, imagine there are 10 different methods which are there inside the same class. So main thread cannot take the control of 10 different methods and execute it on the same path, right? So sometimes we need to execute.
But how we can have like 10 methods in the same class? Because main will be called by compiler, right?
No. What is your answer first of all? Can we don't have 10 different methods inside a class?
10 different main method?
I'm saying about the methods, not main method.
Yeah, methods we can have. I was
Yeah,
yeah,
so
correct. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not talking about main method. Okay. Imagine inside a class there are 3 methods. One is a main method, and another 2 methods are normal methods only. Right?
Okay.
So now let's say from the main method, we are going to call method 1 and method 2. That means the complete burden has been taken care by the main thread in order to execute method 1 and method 2. What if, the situation happens where we need to execute method 1 parallelly and method 2 parallelly in a separate thread, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so we will see that scenario once the multi-threading
Because I
situation
have
comes.
used in TestNG I have used, we'll say, thread parallel equal to true. There is an XML we have to enable
No,
that.
even if you do set
And we
parallel
can say
equal,
thread
see,
count equal to how many we can specify there.
no, Suresh. See, even if you are just going to set parallel or whatever, a sequence that you want to set. If your application is not going to have a multi-threaded code, it will not run in parallel, first of all, correct? Even
Yeah,
if you
that's
set it to
correct.
parallel, right? So we need to write some, I will just explain you about the multi-threading once the time comes.
Okay. Yeah,
Once we
understood.
complete the
Mhm.
API gateway, then we will have a look into that with a simple example.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? No other questions. Giridhar.
Sir, one small question here.
Yeah.
So first, we need to call our service. Means we to enter communication of our services. First, Eureka server needs to be up and running, right? Means if Eureka server fails, then our request won't serve, right? Definitely.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So is there any is there any means before up and running the services? So we need to check Eureka server health check also, right? In means while we are running in Docker.
Right. So right now we do have the Eureka server in place. First of all, we need to make sure that booking service and payment service has to run after the movie services registry is up and running. So we need to configure a health check for the movie services registry, and we need to mention that the same inside the Docker Compose. We'll see that tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
And how to start the Eureka server first, and then followed by the booking service and the payment service.
Okay.
But what happens if I start the booking service directly, and after the booking service start, if I just start the movie services registry, the booking service will not be registered with the movie services registry. That means the Eureka server, correct?
Okay.
So Eureka server has to be up first, and then probably whatever all the discovery clients are there for booking service as well as the payment service, if those applications are run after the Eureka server, then only those applications will be registered inside the Eureka server. So there has to be a sequence. Yeah.
Okay. So even if our service starts first, then we need to restart again.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Okay.
What is the maximum number of requests for this Eureka server? It's not about Eureka server, Ashok. It's only about the Tomcat server. Okay. So Tomcat server can take only 200 requests at a time, no matter if you are hitting the booking service or the payment service. Okay. So by default, each and every application is running on Tomcat server, right? So, but we will not be, hitting the booking service or the payment service directly. There is a special way to call this booking service and the payment service directly through the API gateway. And we'll see that tomorrow, not today. Okay, because it will take some time, because we have to implement the API gateway, as well as we need to implement the routing mechanisms for the booking service as well as the payment service. Right now, we can actually hit the booking service directly, right? Because booking service is actually running on port 8080 and 8081. I can directly hit the endpoint, right? But we don't have to allow the user to hit the booking service or the payment service endpoint directly. They have to hit the API gateway, and the API gateway has to take the request and route that request to the particular service. So that is what we are going to do from tomorrow. Hope this is helpful, and
Yes.
that's all for today. Yeah.
One simple question
questions?
before you end. Yeah, before you end, another question was like, Eureka service is like what we are in the real time we use this one, or this is just for understanding purpose?
See, Eureka server is not being used in real time. People somehow people will use it, but there are some other registry servers. One of the server is Consul. Okay, so this is actually provided by the HashiCorp. And when we are going with AWS, there is a something called Service Connect in Azure, in AWS. So
Service Connect.
Yes. So basically, you can use Consul, which is a better service registry than Eureka Server. But still, there are some
Any-
modifications going on for Eureka Server. So I think once they are coming up, then probably we can know the features of that one as well.
So in finance industry, like which server will be secured or to use? Like any big organization,
See,
like
you can use,
you
no. You can use, see, financial based organizations also will use Eureka Server, but sometimes there are some specific constants if they have to get the complete metrics of the specific microservices, then HashiCorp actually provides more control over the advanced features.
So it has a certain limitation. That's what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah, certain
Eureka
limitations
has
has,
certain
yeah.
limitation.
But you will know about that once we use the API gateway. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Let me see other questions. How we will create multiple instances on server. Neha, so right now we are actually, okay, have you seen this? Right now we are actually creating instances like this, but this is not the approach that we are going to follow. Let's say if you just wanted to make 15 services, that means 15 instances up for a single service, then we need to define 15 different applications for the same service, right? So we cannot do like this by giving specific port 9092, 9093, 9094. We cannot do this. There is a specific approach for that. I will try to explain about that once the time comes. Abhinav Benlokonda. Yeah, Abhinav, please. Sorry.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hi, Abhinav.
Yeah, sir. The same question, mostly answered, but I need some more clarity. So in here, we are developer is taking care of all these thing, like we are annotating with annotations and we are creating service, all those things, no, sir.
Right.
But in real time, like the same thing will be, sir, or like is it more user friendly or kind of just we need to register?
No. So right now, your question is, so in real time also we'll be exactly doing the same things.
Oh,
Abhinav, there is no different way. This is the only way that we can do it. But right now, if you see that I'm just starting the movie services registry and then parallelly booking service and payment service, right? Then only
yes.
payment booking service and payment service will get registered with Eureka server. But
Yeah.
we cannot, let's say, imagine you have 20 plus services. Right now, booking service and payments are only 2 services. But in real time, you can have 20 services, 25 services, or 30 services more. We cannot deploy that application inside any of the cloud environments, and we cannot start each and every application, right, in sequence. So there is something called a Docker Compose file, which will be using it. Right now, we do have a booking service. We need to make an entry for the Eureka service also.
Okay.
And we need to start booking service and payment service only when Eureka service starts. So how we are actually starting the booking service and the payment service? Because if you see that it has a dependency on the bookings database, that means this is the database, right? So there is a health check command for this. Even for Eureka server, there is a health check command. So, but I will let you know through the actuator endpoints how to actually check the health checkup for the Eureka server. Once it is up, then only we have to start the booking service and the payment service. Till then, these 2 services does not has to be started. So in real time, when we are actually deploying the applications inside any of the cloud environments, so probably what will be taken care by the developers. So they will be writing the Docker Compose files and they will be defining the set of services. Once it is actually deployed, there will be a special script which has Docker Compose up command. It will just execute it on the fly, and the services will start according to the Docker Compose configurations.
Okay, sir. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's all for today, and probably tomorrow I will take more time, 1.5 hours, to explain the API gateway and the load balancing, and also how many requests are getting handled by the booking service multiple instances as well as the payment service multiple instances. So tomorrow we'll see that, because it will take at least 1 hour to complete. I cannot do the complete coding in 1 hour. So we'll see that tomorrow with all the scenarios and use cases. Then only you'll be able to understand and you'll be able to get some good idea on how this actually load balancing works. And right now, Eureka server is a client-side load balancer. We cannot say that it is a server-side load balancer. So one example, simple example. So right now our requests are coming from Postman, or our requests can come from Angular application, React application, or whatever the JavaScript applications that we do have. So that is the requests that are coming from the client side. So since Eureka server is sitting in between our actual service and the Postman or the React or the Angular application, so since this is actually handling the client side requests, right? So that's why it is actually something called a client side load balancer. What is the server side load balancer? Let's say if I just have to scale up my DB, and if I just wanted to scale up some other file servers, if we have to do all those kind of things, then probably what we need to do, we need to scale our databases. So scaling the databases, scaling the, some other services like Kafka, all these kinds of all these kind of things are server side load balancings. Okay, so we'll see that in action once the time comes, but not right now. We'll just see about client side load balancing from tomorrow. Okay. Okay, I think that's all for today, and have a great day. And please try to join tomorrow call by at least 9, so that we can take it from 9 to 10:15 at least, in order to cover all the scenarios. Okay, so have a great day and happy learning. I will meet you tomorrow in the same time. Bye.
Thank you.